Hello, hello, how are you? I hope you're keeping well and you're keeping safe. My name is Myron Obura and I'm the lead events consultant at Majestic Events Kenya, and I'd like to welcome you to our YouTube channel where we discuss all things that are related to events. Now, today we are back with the Resilience series where we talk to top experts in the events industry and we ask them to share with us their lessons and the tips and their stories of how they pulled through 2020 and how they're continuing to manage the pandemic so that we can also learn from them and also pull through just as they did. All right, so today we're really happy because we have one of the top caterers in Kenya, and that is none other than Jimton Okeyo of Havey Star Caterers. Karibu Jimton.
Thank you, Mike.
It is so good to have you.
Yeah.
I don't think I have seen you in like over, I've not seen you in a really, really long time.
No.
Yeah, but we've talked over the phone a number of times. Yeah, how are things going?
We are doing good. We are doing very well despite the challenges of COVID.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for honoring my invite.
Yeah.
Maybe for those who don't know who you are, maybe you can give us a brief about who you are.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as you've heard, my name is Jimton Okeyo. I run two companies actually. One is Harvester Group Limited, do catering stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was born during COVID.
Which is what? Okay.
It's called My Good Food Network. Yeah,
nice.
So I run those two companies.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll find out more about the new company,
Yes,
we call it the COVID baby?
The COVID baby.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So tell me, I remember calling you the week that, the first week when people were home because of COVID.
Yeah.
And I remember the discussion was very dire. You're like, I have a lot of chicken and meat in my kitchen.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do. I just don't know what to do. What was your response? Maybe you can share with the audience so that you can see where you are at.
Okay, so when COVID happened, at first it was a shock, just like it was to anyone across the globe. And you remember everybody was reacting, the government was reacting, stay at home, close down.
Yeah.
And so we obeyed and closed and, went and closed our businesses. But I had weddings and events that were booked, several of events, so I had a lot of food that was lying in my freezers. And so, it took a week for me to think, what do I do with all this? And I think one evening we had some guests, some ladies who were, coming for a chama meeting with my wife. And so I made a meal. It was a fish meal. And, then my wife took photos and, she posted for her friends. And they were like, I want fish like that. I want fish like that. So many of them commented. And an idea just dropped in right there. So I decided, okay, people are asking for the fish. I went and bought like 1,000 pieces of fish, from my supplier.
So wait. This happened that evening when the chama was happening?
Yes. The following day, I made an order from my suppliers to supply me with fresh fish from the lake. So I had like 1,000 pieces.
That was very bold, considering that it was still the first week of COVID.
Yes.
I'm sure there were not more than 20 people who said, I want that.
Yes.
Why 1,000?
Well, I saw the opportunity because also when the government said that people should stay at home. So I realized, and people were afraid of going out to the market. So I realized, well, I have food, I have everything. I have chicken, I have beef, I have pork. I have all kinds of food, vegetables. So I realized, well, this is an opportunity. So I decided to just jump into the train and ride with this opportunity that had come.
So you followed your guts?
I followed my guts.
1,000 fish?
1,000
fish. And
that's beside the chicken. The chicken and the beef and the other things that I was having. And so I had freezers. I have huge freezers and they were all full with all sorts of items. So right there, I started supplying. And I had registered a company, but I'd never used it. So My Good Food Network, that moment I felt this is the vehicle I want to use. I didn't want to use the other company because we deal with a different set of business, outside catering work. Yeah, so in this reality, we decided this is the baby that we are going to use. So we launched it and we put it online and we started selling. The initial days, I was the one supplying, because all my staff were at home.
Yeah.
And then I realized the supplies were getting too much. I couldn't do it myself.
Lies.
The orders became too many, and so I decided to bring back the staff members one by one, and we started getting riders, and now we started supplying. And
No. Okay, first of all, the orders became too many.
Too many, yes.
During COVID.
During COVID. Remember, I already have a wide clientele base that I've already been supplying.
Yes.
So when I launch a product on Facebook or on social media, then I have already people who are tracking what am I doing.
Yeah.
And all these people were in need because everyone didn't want to go to the market. And so most of these people became the first customers. And of course, we adopted a different marketing strategy, and we had other new customers coming in, and sooner or later we had business flowing. We actually opened.
Wow.
We opened back the business.
How long did it take for when did you have to reorder for the beef, the chicken, forget the fish, but the beef, the chicken that was already there?
Within a month.
Within a month.
Within a month, I had
you were out.
Yes, I was already out. I needed to now start ordering again. And I think because the lockdown started in March, by April, we were back in business. It's like we didn't shut down. We were just back in business.
So you barely had even a month to breathe.
I didn't. We rested for about a week or two. Thereafter, we started, and I think the year just progressed like that to the end.
So when you say business came back in April, was that My Good Food Network? My Good Food
Network.
That's what was going. And My Good
Yes.
Food Network does what?
So My Good Food Network does online food supplies. Basically, you go to our portal, you order the food items that we are having. We have everything. If you're talking about pre-cooked foods, if you're talking about snacks, if you're talking about whole meals that are already cooked, supplied to your office.
Serious?
Yes, because you see the cafeterias were closed, the restaurants were closed, and people still are in their offices, they need to eat. So I jumped into that. I realized that I can still make fish with ugali and vegetables and supply it to somebody in the office. Someone wants chicken and some roast potatoes, I can supply that to their office. Someone wants, they're in the house, they don't want to go to the market. They want vegetables that are blanched, that they can only go and fry.
And just fry and get ready. I
So
didn't know you do that.
I do all that. Snacks, I have pre-cooked samosas and cooked. So if you want already done, completely done samosas or spring rolls, we will supply. If you want snacks that are half cooked, we will supply. So we have all that. Pre-cooked vegetables, chicken, kienyeji, chicken broilers and all that. We have all that.
Jimton, well done. Well done.
Yeah, that's how it's been.
I'm sure when people are saying 2020 was a tough year, you're looking and saying, no, not quite. Are the riders yours? You said you got do you have your own riders, or did you partner with another company?
No, I got my own riders because I pretty fast realized that things have changed. So I told one of my drivers, I took him to college. He already knew how to ride a bike, but he was not licensed. So I paid for him, and he did a course and he got a license. And then I bought one motorbike, then I bought two, and I branded them. Then we started the supplies, because now the big vehicles were not running because we were doing small supplies. And that was just pretty much in the month of April and a bit of May. By around towards the end of May, even Havey started supplying. So we started having weddings that were booked that people didn't know what to do. The numbers were smaller, but we now started supplying that.
Okay.
So we had weddings all the way from May going June, July towards the end of the year. We still had now the weddings running, and we have My Good Food running.
So you doubled your income, if not tripled.
Well, not really, because you see now the weddings were smaller.
Yeah.
The events were smaller.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was not like just before COVID. So the events were smaller, but good enough to keep us running.
To keep you going. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What? I don't know. I think I'm speechless. I didn't. I don't think I've ever asked you how you pulled through until today.
Yeah.
So what do you think made you pull through? What qualities, or what do you think? What made you make that transition so quick? In a span of a week.
Yeah. So one, I would say flexibility.
Okay.
Flexibility, being able to think quick, in the midst of because when Corona came, it like paralyzed people. People didn't know what to do. But thinking quickly, because we had obligations that are running. So whether we are open or not, there are some things we have to continue paying. Bills that were there, rents, electricity, and so on, security. So as a business owner, you have to think, what do we do? Yeah, I know we are being told to stay at home, but then how do we pay our bills? How do we eat?
Thank you.
And already we have enough stock in our facilities. So thinking quickly and just being flexible was one of those attributes that we adopted, and it helped.
So I know you're a man, clearly. Did you have any emotional, did you get stressed at any one point? Because one thing I do know, and I think it's still the same, you and your wife are in the same company.
Yeah.
So Harvester at that time was the only breadwinner for your family.
Yes.
So did you is it adrenaline that checked in, or did you go through a period of not depression but low state? We were being told it was called pandemic melancholy, did you just move on to the next gear?
We moved on. I think for us, we just moved on, despite the challenges that were there. Like I said, what we were selling was not enough to take care of everything. So at some point, you have to think, how do we fill in the gap? And so we had ways of doing that.
So you just had to. No time to feel anything,
No time to feel anything. And I think also, by God's grace, we landed some events that was happening across the country. So during the pandemic period, during May to November, I went to about 10 counties.
Wow.
There's a company that was launching their products across the country in the different counties. And so they contracted us to supply catering services.
Nice.
Yes.
One company.
So to the counties. So we were able to travel with my team, because we always travel across the country. And we were able to supply our food products to the meetings that were happening in the different places. Small numbers, but good enough to keep us going.
Exactly, because what we needed to do, I think it was Jack Ma who said, the key thing here is to survive.
Yes.
And good job. Yeah. So you said flexibility is what pulled you through. What else?
The other thing that I think we adopted, I ran my business like a supermarket.
I'm afraid to ask what that means.
In a supermarket, you have all kinds of products. If you go to a section to buy, say, flour, you will have different flour, different prices, different brands. That does not determine, that does not choose between who is buying. It does not choose whether you're rich or poor. So my business, I have put it in a way that I can supply the very high end of the event industry. I can also supply the middle. So I have packages for different kinds of. So when people come with a small event for 10, 15 people, I still do. And I'm very ready to do an event for 3,000 people. So
you're like, it's like a two-edged sword.
They are
like
dual.
You can do this and you can do the other.
I can do this, I can do the other. In a day, you will find sometimes I have an event that is running for 500 people, and I have an event that is running for 10 people.
Okay, of course, this was before the lockdown, though.
Before the lockdown, yes. But even during the lockdown, you'll find I have a high-end event for small number of people, and I have a low-budget event for another small number of people. So that you find, because I don't choose. I don't see like this customer has come with little money, I don't want to take their money. That's why I'm saying it's like a supermarket model. Supermarket don't choose. Whether it's built up in a good affluent area, or on downtown, the supermarket, anyone walks in, they can buy whatever they want. If you want large quantity, if you want small quantity, if you want cheaper, if you want more expensive, you get that in a supermarket. So that's the model that we use in Harvester to enable us to continue running. And that's a model we've been using before even COVID came. Supplying all kinds of customers. We don't choose. The high end, the middle class.
That is very interesting, because I am of the thought or school of thought that says you must have a niche.
Yes.
And a lot of people believe that. So it's interesting to hear that you do both.
I do both.
High end and the lower end and the middle end. Yes. Okay. Yeah. What other thing pulled through? So supermarket model, flexibility, anything else?
And I think also just the capacity to be able to be creative.
Okay.
Being creative. Because now when COVID happened, at first, because we locked down the company, I moved the freezers to my house. So when I was starting my good food network, the freezers were actually in my house.
So where were they before?
At my business premises on
So
Gitanga
did you
Road.
let go of the business?
No. The business premises were there, but
Okay.
I realized now, because I live on Thika Road and the business premises on Gitanga Road, I don't have to go there every day.
Okay.
So let me move. I moved 3 huge freezers to my house. So I was actually supplying from my house.
Nice.
So me and my wife and my daughters were actually getting orders and packaging the foods.
Family mode.
Family mode. So packaging the foods, and I would distribute. As I ran out distributing, my wife and my daughters would remain repackaging others that are coming. That's how we started. Then when I realized that the orders were becoming many, I realized now, let me go back to the company. So I moved the freezers back to the kitchens, and we continued now producing from there.
Is there any other thing that you'd like? I mean, I can write a book right now of you that I'm already challenged right now.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that pulled you through?
I think other than that, just the reality of like I said, just flexibility.
Yeah.
Just flexibility.
Being
and
flexible.
Being flexible and moving with the wave of things the way they are going. Because you see the way even things are now, we are not sure how COVID is moving.
Exactly.
And so we still have to be very flexible, because you see the
Correct.
numbers go down for events, and you have to think, what do we do? So in the midst of that, we still have to supply, we still do small events, and a lot of other things that begin emerging, office supplies. Incidentally,
Yes.
I also do office supplies, quite a bit of it.
Nice.
That still continued even during COVID. Yeah, I have orders for supplying teas to the offices, different
Wow.
offices, that was still running despite the offices that didn't close down, corporate offices that we supply. So we still had that running. And again, that kept us busy. So
I'm hearing it's good to have multiple products or
yes.
services that
Yeah.
you're offering.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm sure there are other people in the industry watching this today. There are other caterers who are looking at you and thinking,
Yeah.
ay, supermarket model, like really? What would you tell them? What advice would you give to them if you could look at that camera and just say, what advice would you give to them?
I think my advice would be, don't shut down the business. Think, what else can you do? Be creative, because there are opportunities. I've seen a lot of other colleagues in the industry who have ventured into different things, because business is not business the way it was. Things are not usual. And so a lot of capacity to be creative and to think outside the box and do new things that you are not doing before. Just within maybe the same business that you're doing. I saw quite a number of people who started doing vegetable vending. Yeah, I saw people who moved into snacks like me. I saw people who moved into different things who are also in events. So don't shut down. That's my advice. Think on what you can do with what you have. I know some businesses are normally configured just to do high-end events. But now we are in an environment where those high-end and big events are not there. What do? Do the small ones, because they are there. Birthdays are still there. If you talk to people who do cakes, particularly those who have ventured into birthday cakes, they didn't stop.
They continue.
Yeah, I have friends who do birthday cakes, and they continued doing through the pandemic. People are still doing small events for 10, 20 people, and so on and so forth. I realized the other day I had an event and I wanted to outsource a tent, because I don't do tents.
Yes.
And so I put it in one of the forums for events people looking for just one tent for an event.
Okay.
And the number of people who responded, shocked me, because I had like 20 people saying, I can bring now. I'm near where you are. Just one tent. In fact, one supplier came and actually supplied the tent to us. And it's like, it's already loaded. People are not waiting. They're not there. And it was a small tent for just a simple event. And I had so many inquiries, so many suppliers saying, we can supply.
Which is such a change. Yeah?
Because
there was
a time
when you'd ask for one tent, and you can count the number, why one tent?
Yeah, one tent. Who will supply?
Yeah,
Actually,
exactly.
it was a gazebo. And I had 20 responses of people who are ready to supply me. And I'm looking at that, I'm saying, I think this flexibility, if you don't do that, and the person who finally supplied told me she takes small events, and that has kept her going.
Nice.
Yeah, so birthdays, small events for 15, 20 people, and she's very busy doing that.
So you've said, if you're a caterer, don't shut down. What would you tell those people who literally gave up and shut down? What should they do?
Come out of, I think a lot of people have been stressed because of the bills and all that, but come out and think on what to do with what you have. And sometimes if you meet people and talk to other people in the industry, like those who are listening now, you get impacted by what somebody else is doing. There are stories from abroad, I mean, all across the world of what people are doing. I've seen stories of pilots in Asia.
Wow.
A pilot who was flying a huge plane now doing food supplies.
Really?
I've seen that.
Again, flexibility.
Flexibility, because you say now, if the planes are not flying, what do we do?
Yeah.
So do something, don't sit down.
Yeah.
And the other thing I did was to cut down my budget.
Okay.
I slashed down my budget of running the business.
Oh, your expenses now.
My expenses now, quite substantially. I removed the things that I can survive without.
I think someone yesterday was saying that this period has allowed us to see we're wasting a lot of money.
Exactly.
And get rid of the excesses and the frills.
Exactly.
What would your parting shot for today's interview be?
So my parting shot would be, let's consult, let's talk to each other as events people. When we meet and talk to each other, we inspire one another. Read stories of other people and how they are surviving in the midst of the pandemic, because the situation is still here with us and we don't know how long it's still going to be. So that you're not waiting for things to open up the way they were, because we don't know when that will happen. Correct. If it will ever happen.
Correct.
And so let's talk to one another, read stories about other people, hear other people's experiences and what they are doing. Be flexible, cut down your budget. If you are in a facility that you're paying a huge rent, can you go to a smaller space?
Correct.
Yeah.
All right.
Because if you stay there and the bills are continuing to accumulate and you don't know how to pay it, you can get pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think just being flexible, cut down the budget, and be creative.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jimton, it was awesome to have you as a second guest of the Resilience series. Thank you so much for sharing with us, for making time for us. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have today with Jimton Okeyo of Havey Stars and My Good Food Network. Yeah. And let me remind you that today we are shooting at ParkInn by Radisson. Again, today we're on the 11th floor, where you can see a clear vision of Mount Kenya. So if you really, really want to shoot a video or you want to have a business meeting, because they're still open for that, please make sure you pass by. And again, if you want to have live streaming at your hybrid or virtual event, please make sure you call Aquatronics, Sanjeev, because that is who is taking care of us today. Thank you so much for being with us. And let's take Jimton's advice and let's be flexible. Thank you and God bless. See you next Wednesday.